side only on WBRZ.
From the official news station of LSU Athletics, this is WBRZ Morning News at 10.
Welcome to WBRZ Saturday Morning News, I'm Joe Collins, and it's an in-state battle today in Baton Rouge as the Tigers host Southeastern. Hunter McCann and Bree Andrews are out on campus today, and guys, it's always fun when two colleges in our area are able to face each other.
Hey there, Joe. Yeah, you're right. I mean, two in-state opponents going at it. Welcome in to LSU's campus. We're here at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, right with Tiger Stadium right behind us. I'm Bree Andrews. Hunter McCann joining me. Now, Hunter, we have a lot to get into with this LSU squad. Before we really dive into what they're going to face tonight with Southeastern, let's start with the obvious. We found out on Monday that LSU gunslinger Garrett Nussmeier dealing with a torso injury. I guess that can kind of explain maybe a little bit as to why LSU's offense has slowed down through the first 3 games of this season. It's something that wasn't really expected come Monday, but does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's one of many reasons I think this LSU offense has struggled through 3 games. I mean, they're still 3-0 and living by that 1-0 mantra, and they've done that every single week, but it has not been the caliber of LSU offense that we expected after last season, where it seemed like this offense was clicking really well. You expected Garrett Nussmeier to take that jump, and now it seems like he's dealing with this injury that, according to Brian Kelly, he's on the back end of it, so we should see him getting back to his normal self and starting with this game. But earlier this week, Brian Kelly addressed this injury and how it has affected him a little bit through the first 3 games as the Tigers quarterback.
He's been slowed a little bit with a torso injury, and he's fighting through it, and he's getting better, and he's not going to be able to really shut it down until we get to the bye week. And I'm not saying that has had any of his troubles. I think, we're not ripping it, on 4th down. We're taking some plays away from him as well. And he's done a really good job. I think he managed the run game as well as he has all year. We got to let him get the ball out to the playmakers.
Yeah, and we take a look at some updated Heisman odds. Garrett Nussmeier, after they beat Clemson, was the favorite, but now he's dropped to about 4th on the list. Oklahoma's John Mateer is leading the way at plus 800. Carson Beck from Miami at plus 900. Dante Moore at Oregon plus 1,200. And then we have Nussmeier at 1,300. But granted, this is still very early in the season.
Oh, yeah, there's plenty of ground to be made up for Nussmeier. He's in a good position, and it hasn't even hit the true test of conference play. This will be the last warm-up game before LSU hits that onslaught of SEC play. And, that favorite going into the season was Arch Manning. He's now at plus 3,500 to win the Heisman after he's had a rough season. So it's been a little bit of different expectations across the board in this Heisman race, but it's only week 4, and things can change very quickly. But it's all going to start with Nussmeier being healthy from this torso injury and having the opportunity to lead this LSU offense and really come out of this huge struggle that they've been in recently.
No, absolutely. I think LSU, especially after Clemson, you saw it was kind of the game plan to get the ball out quickly. They didn't know how much they can trust the offensive line. And I think the offense did just enough to win that game, and that was good enough then. But that's not going to be good enough for the rest of the season, especially when you get into the gauntlet of SEC play. And that'll be true for the coming weeks. LSU going to Ole Miss next week. Like you said, Hunter, this will be a good tune-up for LSU's offense to really get things moving and maybe even build some momentum if they can get things moving in the run game or in the pass game. If Nussmeier can complete some deep passes, he might play a quarter or a half depending on how things go. But one thing is for sure, LSU has to get things going offensively.
Where we've got to get better is technically. Our guys are playing hard. They are locked in. We've got to be better in terms of technique. This is a big week for us, in terms of developing the technique and the experience that we have and still being consistent with running the football. And I was happy with that. Our play calling never put us in a situation where we were so far behind the chains that it became a situation where we put the ball in harm's way. We've got to convert some 3rd down situations. So when we look at this from a bigger picture standpoint, 3rd down conversions are really what we need to do a better job with, 3rd and short in particular.
There's a lot in particular I think this offense needs to be better at, but third down is one of them. They have to be able to find ways to, when they get into plus territory, continue to move the ball. I feel like through the first 3 games, LSU has done well to move the ball past midfield. And then the kind of stalls out with the rest of this offense, or they find themselves in situations where they have to go for long field goals. And that'll work against opponents like La Tech or a Southeastern, most likely tonight. But when you get into conference play, when you go on the road next week to Ole Miss, you have to be able to, when you get opportunities, take advantage of it and capitalize. And when your defense has 5 turnovers and puts you in good field position, you have to be able to score more than 13 offensive points when you win 20-10 against Florida.
Absolutely, and obviously a lot of people will go to the offensive play caller, Joe Sloan. He's the first to blame, Garrett Nussmeier right behind him, but Brian Kelly is very confident in what Joe Sloan has been putting out there. He's not really concerned about the play calling. I mean, last year, whenever the defense was a work in progress, Brian Kelly had to defend Blake Baker, and now everybody's on the Blake Baker hype train, right? So LSU's offense, like you said, is a work in progress, but I think this will be a good test for them to really get things moving.
Our efficiency has been pretty good. I think it's more specific about short yardages. And the short yardages of the year is, as you know, we had a couple of them where we came up right short at the sticks. I think that's just continued to have an emphasis in our week of preparation on short yardage inventory plays. Because last year we were going for it on 4th down. That's my whole point. Last year, we were taking the analytics and running that as a 3rd and a 4th down play. So if we got to, 4th and 1, we were going, But this year, I'm playing it a little bit different based upon the strength of our defense.
Yeah, LSU's offense really trying to find an identity in this game. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier threw for over 4,000 yards last year. He was the nation's leading passer. We know he can throw it, and he can throw it deep. I mean, obviously, that comes back to trusting your offensive line to be able to protect Nuss for long enough to be able to take those deep shots downfield. We know what Caden Durham can do. I mean, he broke loose for 51 yards at the end of that Florida game last week. We know the potential and the talent that they have on paper and their ability, but it's all about having these pieces trying to work together.
And I'm really not concerned about LSU's offense. And I'll be completely honest with you. Through 3 games, I don't think anything has looked fantastic, but there's just too much talent that I think that it will break out. Like you mentioned, with Caden Durham in the backfield and the wideouts and Nussmeier's experience under center, this offense will find its legs. It's a lot of new faces on this offense that are still trying to mesh it all together, and it's been enough to keep this Tiger team undefeated and ranked 3rd in the country. They're going to have to do better in some areas, but I do think that Brian Kelly's staff is going to be able to find a way to find that identity.
Maybe we were trying to be too perfect, right, in our play calls. Let's just go play. Let those guys get the ball in space and play. And the same thing with Garrett, doing a little bit too much, checking every play. He's so smart. I mean, he can manage the whole thing, but sometimes, less is more. And I think as you continue to go, into the 4th week, we're developing what that identity should look like from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of LSU's offensive numbers as far as NCAA rankings. They're not great. They're in the lower 100s in rushing offense, scoring offense, red zone touchdowns. I mean, it's not looking great. Garrett Nussmeier is 60th in passing with 235 yards per game. They're 69th on 3rd down percentage, about 42%. Not what you expect from an LSU offense, especially in the last couple years. It's
very Les Miles reminiscent of an offense, and I don't think that that's where we are right now. Truly, I think that you knew by game 3 or 4, 10 years ago with Les Miles as coaches, that's where the offense was going to be. I see that this offense being able to figure it out in the next few weeks. You get through Southeastern, hopefully you put up big numbers. They're 46.5-point favorites today against the Lions. If you can put up some big numbers and get the offense moving, now you go into a real road test with Ole Miss, who we'll get into a little bit later, but has a backup quarterback playing today, and they may against the Tigers this week. You've got a few get good spots before you have a bye week in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I absolutely think LSU's offense, like you said, maybe they're just getting warmed up. Maybe they're just saving it for, the gauntlet of their SEC schedule, and they're going to break loose and, become, 2019 level offense, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Only one can hope.
So like we said, LSU's offense, not great as far as NCAA rankings, but we're only going into week 4. It's a long season. We're still in September. We got a long way to go for them to kind of climb those ranks. So calm down.
Not pressing the panic button.
Don't hit the panic button just yet. Garrett Nussmeier and this offense has time to figure things out. We have to remember, too, they are young on the offensive line. All these guys are brand new. They just met each other this offseason, so trying to mesh together is what they're going to have to accomplish. We have a lot more to get to in this show this morning. We are going to turn things around after the break and talk about this LSU defense, who has been absolutely spectacular as of late. But before we do that, we're going to go to Balin Rogers in studio. Balin, it feels great out here this morning.
Yeah, overall, a pretty mild start. We bottomed out in the upper 60s, and if you're planning on heading to LSU's campus, it will warm up. We're going to be in the 90s today once again by the afternoon and evening. Humidity levels aren't going to be terrible, but you will notice it a little bit. Make sure you bring some sunscreen if you plan on tailgating, get some shade. Also, wear some shades because it's going to be a lot of sunshine out there. And as we look at that rain chance as we go throughout the rest of the day, it's relatively low, running at right around 10 to 20%. Yeah, there will be a few showers. So not impossible your neighborhood or even LSU's campus does see a few showers, but more likely than not, you're not going to see any sort of rainfall. And then we get to the start of the game. We will be cooling down a little bit, but you're going to start off really warm out there if you're in Death Valley. It's going to be in the 80s out there. And then as we approach halftime and at the end of the game, it will start to feel a little bit better. I think by the third and fourth quarter, you're going to be feeling pretty nice, lower 80s and then into the upper 70s, a little bit of mugginess. And by that time, we're not going to have any sort of chance of rain. Right now, looking at beautiful Tiger Stadium, that temperature is at 82 degrees. Air is feeling a little bit humid right now, kind of stuffy as well with those winds. Calm, absolutely nothing on satellite and radar. You're not going to see any sort of major rainmaker today. Like I mentioned, only a few showers, and we're counting down the days until fall. 2 days out, and we actually will see a few changes in the forecast a little bit later on the newscast. I'm going to detail exactly what to expect. Joe.
Thanks, Ben. And with two local teams, we've got some combined tailgates going on throughout campus, and one of those will be the focus of tonight's edition of Tailgate on 2. Next week, we're heading out to Southern for the Boombox Classic against Jackson State. If you want your tailgate story to be told, then email me at jcollins@wbrz.com. Tell me where you'll be set up and the story of your tailgate. I'll come share its story. Well, coming up, Hunter and Bree break down what has been the best part of this LSU team through 3 weeks. A look at the Tigers' defense when we come back.
Price LeBlanc Automotive.
70 years of price advantage and still going strong.
Still putting our customers first.
More than ever, the place to go for quality and reliability.
Some call it longevity.
Some may call it a legacy.
We call it family tradition.
Darling.
I did 950 miles on the Pacific Crest Trail and then decided I wanted to go hike in the Himalayas. I was not 20 years old. I was 64 years old. We had an absolutely incredible experience. We trekked about between 90 and 92 miles, and to do it pain-free. You think I'm not grateful for arch supports from Good Feet? I mean, come on. I'm Dale, and that's my Good Feet story.
See for yourself with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
Do you want to love your garage again? Throw parties on the patio or just add curb appeal? Omega Concrete Coatings can put an end to your ugly concrete in as little as a day. Locally owned and operated, our certified installation team gets right to the problem, laying the groundwork for your new and improved floors with the most innovative coating system on the market. Check us out at OmegaConcreteCoatings.com or call us at 225-341-5888. Put an end to your ugly concrete with Omega Concrete Coatings.
I'm a martial artist, a skydiver, a pilot, and all of them require your feet to work. Get up in the morning, and it felt like I was standing on marbles on my heel. When I went into the Good Feet store, the fitting was personalized. It was all about me. You put in the arch supports, and your day becomes better, and the sun shines, the unicorns run by, and, you know, it's a good life. I'm Randy, and that's my Good Feet story. See for yourself with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
At Price LeBlanc Nissan,
We keep it real.
get our best real deal price on every new Nissan in stock. Buy with 0 APR for 60 months on new Nissans. Get your real deal today at Price LeBlanc Nissan,
Airline Highway in Gonzales.
where family makes a difference.
Darling.
from the official news station of LSU Athletics, this is WBRZ Morning News.
There's some things that we've got to get better at. And not just on offense. It's offense, defense, and special teams. So this is an important week for us because after this, we get into a gauntlet of games with SEC opponents.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back to LSU's campus. Bree Andrews, Hunter McCann joining you live from campus. You know, Hunter, we know what kind of game this is. You know, Southeastern's getting paid a lot of money to come 45 minutes down the road to play LSU. It's a Power 4, against an FCS opponent. It's just not like an evened out matchup, but nonetheless, Southeastern's going to come in here and give it their all. I mean, they really don't have anything to lose. And this is LSU's game to really get things tuned up before they get into SEC play. Now, Southeastern, after a rough start against Louisiana Tech, they got shut out in week 1 in that game. They go on to win 2 more. So they're kind of riding their high horse right now after, you know, putting up a lot of points, especially last week against Mississippi Valley State.
It's a great opportunity for the Lions. I mean, you come in here to this situation, allow you to figure out where you are skill level wise against a superior opponent and the LSU Tigers. And like you said, you're coming off that big one against Mississippi Valley State, and it allows you to kind of figure out. And earlier this week, Coach Frank Selfo talked a little bit about that matchup, and you know, he said it's not his favorite thing to bring his guys into a situation where it really feels like David versus Goliath, but you can, I mean, still anything can happen out on the football field. You can find your way to have momentum. And the way this LSU
State beat Texas A&M a couple years ago.
Remember when Troy came in the Death Valley and beat the Tigers? I don't like to remind people of that, but this Southeastern team has a lot of playmakers, especially at an FCS level. They're going to be able to come in here and fly around and make plays on an LSU offense that has struggled. And if they don't open it up today, it could be a tough situation for the Tigers to be in. But Brian Kelly talked about this Lions team earlier this week, and really that type of talent that's going to be in display here at Tiger Stadium tonight.
Coach Selfo, I've known for a long time. He's an outstanding coach. He's certainly well acquainted with the state of Louisiana, and certainly they've coming off a nice victory this past weekend against Mississippi Valley. You know, again, they run a couple of quarterbacks. This is an offense that we're going to need to be one-dimensional, again, looking to stop the run. And then from a defensive standpoint, they get some really good players. The Proctor kid is an outstanding player, very twitchy. He's a lot like our guy Gooden, active, tackles for a loss, and Reno, the linebackers all over the field. So they've got good players. They're going to be excited about this opportunity. We have to work on ourselves this week with that sense of urgency.
Depth.
I'll get us out of this. Yeah, LSU's defense, let's go to that for a minute. They've been playing just absolutely spectacular. It reminds me of maybe like 2011 LSU, some of those greats that were there around that time period. You get Tyrann Mathieu, Patrick Peterson. I mean, I know they all kind of played in different areas, but the legends for LSU's defense. LSU's been playing 5 interceptions last weekend against Florida. I don't know, and this might sound harsh, but the way LSU's defense has been playing, I'm not sure if Southeastern will have a good enough chance to put any points on the board coming this week. I mean, Brian Kelly said earlier this season that in his previous 3 years as the head coach of the Tigers, they just needed to find 11 guys to put out on the field. But things are a little different now.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And not only do you have superstars on this team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but you got defensive stars that are sitting behind defensive stars.
Absolutely.
We saw that last week where guys were coming in from situations. We saw Devon Keys come in when Whit Weeks got ejected in the first series for that targeting penalty, and his ability to kind of step in and not miss a beat. And Brian Kelly talked a little bit this week about that next man up mantra.
The offseason, I knew it was going to be something special. Everyone in the linebacker room's locked in. You could throw anyone out there. They know what they're doing. They're flying around. They're making plays. And it was really great getting to play with, Zach and Tylen, those guys who don't really get game experience, getting to see them go fly around and have fun out there. It's really about being unselfish. We definitely have a lot of that in our room. It's everybody's playing for the team, whether it's special teams or defense. Everyone's ready for their name to be called. They're ready to run down on kickoff. They're ready to go in at any moment. And that's something that really gives you confidence in the linebacker room because, everyone's playing for each other. No one's playing for themselves.
Yeah, Devon Keys kind of had a breakout game for the Tigers. He led the team in tackles, but let's go to another guy who really had a breakout game. Deshaun Spears, the Denham Springs native, went off for the Tigers. He had the first interception of the game, and then there was his first career interception as a Tiger. And then later in the game, in the second half, he had a pick six to put the Tigers up by 10 on Florida. Truly a huge night. He was the SEC Defensive Player of the Week. He was a National Defensive Player of the Week. He just went absolutely crazy for LSU.
Yeah, and he ultimately sealed the game for the Tigers, where the offense was struggling, the defense stepped up, and that's something that has been kind of a pattern through the first 3 games. But this LSU defense is just so good to be able to fly around and be ball hunters, be able to get in situations where there's either the opposing offense is picking up short situations, or they're just completely disrupting the backfield or the secondary and knocking balls out of the air. And that's what you love to see, is you kind of tune yourself up like a game for this game for Southeastern before you get into conference play. Now, Brian Kelly talked a little bit about this week about this Tiger defense and their ability to step up in these big situations and keep the right now.
Our next man in mantra was on display. You know, I'd always wanted to get all the Weeks boys in the game, and I did. I just didn't get them all at the same time. Depth is going to be counted on, and Devon Keys came in, played a great game in Witt's absence. He went from 42 plays the week before to 88, and so just to be prepared to step in and do the kind of job he did, I thought was outstanding. Deshaun Spears was named the Defensive SEC Player of the Week, deservingly so.
It meant everything to me. Coming from being born in Utah to coming down here when I was 9 years old, being right down the road in college, listening to the stadium, always wanting to play here, so it's just a full circle moment for me.
He was really good and has been in our nickel coverage. Read the eyes of the quarterback, stole one, brought it back for a touchdown, and had another interception later. So really, really pleased with his performance.
Yeah, let's look at LSU's defensive stats as far as NCAA rankings, kind of polar opposite to when we talked about the offensive stats earlier. The Tigers are 11th in scoring defense, only allowing about 9 points per game. They're 5th in rushing defense. That was a totally different story last year, where they could not stop a running quarterback or stopping the run in general. 2nd in interceptions with 6 on the year, and 5 of those came last week, Hunter.
Yeah, this defense is special. And I think from the eye test, completely throwing the analytics out, this is a top 5 defense in the country. And I think they will be by the end of the season as well, especially when they get into conference play. It's going to be very difficult for teams to put points up on this Tiger defense. But when we come back from break, we're going to get into some other numbers, talk some best bets. I'll have those for you when we come back here at Tiger Stadium.
From one small store in 1960 to serving over 1 million customers a week across the Gulf Coast.
Rouse's Markets, your local low price leader. 85% lean ground round, value packed at just $4.67 a pound. Save $2.32 a pound. New crop Washington Honeycrisp apples, $1.47 a pound. Save $2.02. Community coffee single serve and bags, buy one get one free. Save up to $11.49. And Rouse's rice or camellia beans, 2 for $3. Save $1.78 when you buy 2.
65 years and we're just getting started.
Looking for a used or certified pre-owned car, truck, or SUV? Then head to any of our 13 dealerships and choose from our 14 different brands. A huge collection of used cars in stock. That's right, we have tons of used and certified pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs on our lots right now and at allstarautomotive.com. With so many vehicles to choose from at any of our 13 All-Star locations, you really do get it all at All-Star.
All-Star Family. If McCann's can't do it, no one can. McCann's Mobile Homes. Whether buying a single, double, or triple wide, McCann's is gonna be by your side. You know, with Robbie and Wade, the best deal is gonna be made. We've got acres and acres of satisfaction makers. If McCann's can't do it, no one can. McCann's Mobile Homes.
Call me Peyton Murphy. I am Louisiana's knee injury lawyer.
Now, this week's Best Bets with Hunter McCann.
Oh, yeah, Bree.
I was dancing.
I know you were. It's the best song here this Saturday morning. We get best bets rolling here. We got a full slate over on WBRZ today. So let's get started with Arkansas on the road playing the Memphis Tigers. Arkansas, a 7.5-point favorite in this one with the over-under set at 61.5 points. Arkansas's defense has been rough the first 3 weeks, complete opposite of LSU, but they have been struggling similar to LSU last year with a mobile quarterback. Tiger QB Brendan Lewis could have a big day on the ground. He's got a great arm, but he has shown through the first 3 weeks his ability to run on teams. Memphis will try to control the pace in this one and expose Arkansas's rush defense. Now, I think Arkansas will get the win on the road here against Memphis, but I don't think the Tigers will go down without a fight. They got a very versatile offense, so I'm going to go with Memphis to cover plus 7.5 points today at home against Arkansas.
Yeah, I think Arkansas's offense has been red hot as of late. I think Taylon Green at quarterback really getting settled as he enters year 2 with the Hogs and the Bobby Petrino offense. I think he's third. Arkansas's third in the SEC in scoring offense. Taylon Green is third in the SEC in rushing and fourth in passing, and he's at the top of the SEC
it's a tough test for
in
the Tigers.
total offense. So I think it'll be tough for the Tigers to get this win at home. I like Arkansas in this one.
All right. Moving along, 2:30 today, Auburn at Oklahoma. It's the Jackson Arnold homecoming, and Oklahoma in this one favored by 7.5 points, over under 46.5 total points. Auburn has not won a road game against a ranked away team, since 2021. Each team has played one competitive game this year. It was Oklahoma against Michigan, Auburn against Baylor, both of them coming away victorious. Now, Sooners QB John Material, we talked about earlier, leading the Heisman odds right now, and I think he's the real deal. I really do. Not solely he's going to win the Heisman, but I think he is a very great quarterback. But you put pressure on him, he makes a lot of mistakes. And Auburn's defensive front has done really well at pressuring quarterbacks through the first 3 weeks. Everyone thinks Oklahoma is going to cover at home in this one, but not Hunter McCain. I think Auburn was going to keep this game closer. I'm going to take the Tigers plus 7.5 points. You can't count out Hugh Freeze and the Tigers, baby. Take Auburn plus 7.5 points.
You know what? I'm going to have to agree with you. I'm not sure if I'm completely bought into what Oklahoma is selling just yet. They have that quality win over Michigan, yes, but their other 2 games, I mean, like, they weren't really competitive matchups. It was kind of just like one of those gimme games, you know? I really like Auburn in this one. I think it'll be kind of poetic for Jackson Arnold to walk into Norman and win with Auburn, but I think Oklahoma's defense against Jackson Arnold is going to be something that'll be fun to watch. But Jackson Arnold, I mean, like, he played with some of these guys last year, so he might know what to expect, and this might just go the Tigers' way. I mean, I talked about it earlier this week. I actually missed the LSU-Auburn rivalry because I always thought that was a really fun game. It was always a crazy game. Give me Auburn in this one on the road.
Oof. Taking them straight up. All right, let's get to those last 2 ones. Nightcap here on WBRZ. Big one. Miami at Florida. Miami, a 7.5-point favorite. I'm seeing a trend here of 7.5-point favorites. Over under in this one, 51.5 points. Now, Miami's offense with Carson back has looked explosive through the first 3 weeks. They have looked like a top 5 team, absolutely. While Florida has really struggled to find its legs. We saw that last week firsthand here at Tiger Stadium. And I think Florida's defense, though, is good. I think they were able to hold LSU, not because LSU's offense is that bad, even though they're struggling. I do think Florida's defense is very good, but I'm not sure they can contain the Hurricanes for 4 quarters. Everyone is betting on the Hurricanes to cover 7.5 points. And this time, I'm believing everybody. I think Miami is going to run away with this game at home in Hard Rock Stadium against the Gators. Give me Miami minus 7.5 points.
Yeah, I think Florida kind of has their tail between their legs right now after that loss last weekend over here in Baton Rouge to LSU. Their offense just does not look like everyone is on the same page. Billy Napier really could be in the hot seat if they lose to Miami.
I think Billy Napier's lost the locker room. I really do think that.
It is really discouraging to see, you know, DJ Lagway coming in as one of the best quarterbacks in the country, not even just the SEC, and throwing 5 interceptions last week against LSU. I really think Florida, I don't know if it's a confidence loss. It might be, you know, considering how last week's game went. I don't know if they're just going to walk into Miami and South Beach and just, you know, come up with the upset. I don't see that happening. But then again, you know, it's college football. I mean, the end of last season, Florida went off. They went on this crazy thing. Billy Napier's job was safe. It was a whole thing. So, I don't know. Give me Miami in this one.
All righty. Last game, Ole Miss and Tulane. The Green Waves going on the road to face the Rebels. Ole Miss, a 12.5-point favorite in this one with the over-under set at 61.5 points. Look, Ole Miss has struggled to contain mobile QBs. We saw that last week, and now they're Tulane QB Jake Retzlaff is coming in with his ability to rush. He's a top 5 quarterback in the country with his legs, and it's going a little bit unnoticed because he's on Tulane. But both these offenses have scored in bunches the first 3 weeks, which I think has inflated this number more than it should be. I think Tulane's going to be able to utilize this ground game, and backup QB, like I mentioned earlier for Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss is going to start for the Rebels. He did really well last week at being able to manage the game. I'm not so sure he could do it 2 weeks in a row. I think there'll be enough mistakes that Tulane kind of sticks in the game. But I think the best bet in this one, Bree, is to take the under 61.5 points. I just don't think Chambliss is going to be able to stretch the field like Simmons does, the starting quarterback at Ole Miss. I'm going to take under 61.5 points in this one as Tulane tries to go on the road and go to 4-0 for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, like you said, Tulane's quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, he's rushed for almost 300 yards this season in just 3 games. So I think Tulane's really going to give Ole Miss a run for their money, and they may have just a little bit of a leg up with Ole Miss starting their backup quarterback. But I do think Ole Miss, being, the favorite in this one, is going to take it. But I do agree with you on that under.
All righty, quick recap for you. Take Memphis plus 7.5 points. Take Auburn plus 7.5 points against Oklahoma. Take Miami minus 7.5 at home against Florida. And then, lack thereof points in Tulane and Ole Miss. Take the under 61.5 points. All right, when we come back, we're going to go back in studio for some of your local news with Joe Collins. But stick around. We will close out the show back here in front of Tiger Stadium as LSU gets ready to face Southeastern tonight at 6:45.
Louisiana has big weather, and that can mean big damage to your roof. Call us for a free roof inspection to be sure. If we find damage, we'll even help you file it with your insurance. Protect your home with Rice & Roofing.
Just to be on the safe side.
Hi, everyone. Financial correspondent Amy Sharp here today with Brian Lowe of Brian Lowe Financial. It used to be called the silent killer of retirement plans, but some say inflation has become more like a runaway train. What do you think about this, Brian? We've